Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Roos. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there. And so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony. Welcome to the Australian Metal Ruse for a chat about the upcoming tour with Ross the Boss, my friend.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Oh, it was a pleasure. I just talked to Ross the other day, and
Hmm.
he's very excited about the tour.
Oh yeah, we
Are
love
you?
coming down there.
Yeah, you were only over here recently with Metal Church, weren't you?
Yeah, yep. End of 23. Yep.
Because it was 23. It feels like yesterday.
I know. Well, it was because for me, 24 was a big nothing burger, nothing going on. So I'm kind of
Mm.
glad it's gone.
Well, that's
Uh,
right. You always want to keep busy, right? You always want to keep
yes,
busy.
exactly. Yep.
But how did you meet Ross?
Um, well, it all started on a Death Angel tour bus.
Oh, wow.
Not hanging out with those guys, and one of their good friends I started chatting with. He was really good friends with Ross. And we talked and he was like, oh, we'd love you to come do some songs or something, whatever, with his band.
Mm.
Anyways, I get a call a couple of weeks later and they're hey, do you have your passport? I'm like, yeah, I didn't. They're like, do you know like good set of Manowar tunes? Oh yeah, I didn't. So I just kind of went with it. I really didn't think much of it. And then I went down and his buddy's band was opening up for the Ross the Boss band, that the lineup that they had at that time.
Mm.
And I had never seen Manowar with Ross, so I was excited because I'm gonna get to play. And we were doing like Accept and Queensryche kind of covers and a couple of originals of that band. I was just filling in,
Mm.
but they were opening for us, so of course I wanted to do it. So, that show went off and about a week later, I get another call from my buddy John, and he's like, "Well, would you be interested in playing with Ross? And you got this, that." And I'm like, "Yeah, definitely." So I scrambled to get uh, my passport, which at the time, thank goodness, it was easier, and I just learned as much as I possibly could, and that was a trial by fire. I mean, I was in Mexico doing my first tour, and I still didn't know the songs. I just had to keep doing what I did and fake it till you make it, A little teleprompter, and that was about what I had to do.
Oh
Uh,
my God, because
yeah.
that would have been a tricky one because those vocals are not easy to do, man. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So you're focusing on the vocal parts and trying to read the words. It's never that great of a combination. And I mean, I got crucified at the beginning couple of years of playing with Ross because Manowar fans are so hardcore.
Mm,
It was just like I was like, look, man, this is a whole different spin on this stuff, and it's no one does it like Eric. No
yeah.
one ever will.
No.
He was one of my vocal gods growing up, and I always was laughed because the thing I loved about Eric Adams was that he sounded like a berserker, but then
Mm.
he could sound like a fucking angel.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like, that is such a great dynamic. And before it was cool, don't forget.
Oh
We're talking,
yes.
that stuff wasn't heard of.
No.
You can't do that. You
No.
can't grunt and sing pretty at the same time. And so that was always something. And now having the responsibility to do those things, whew, you know, I've gotten used to it, but definitely in the beginning, I guess, I guess some got into some pretty heated things. That's when I learned not to go on the internet and ever read anything about yourself.
Oh God, yes. Yeah,
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 and
you just don't
you
do
know,
it.
yeah, well, there was a period when it first happened. I wanted to fight the whole internet. I was like, show up in my show. Show up my show. You want to talk that shit? Let's go. You know, and and honest to God, I challenged the kid in Spain. I'll never forget it. He was in it because he started getting nasty with my friend,
Oh.
right?
Mm.
So I rung in, right? And I said, hey, I got a deal. I said, where you from? Oh, yeah, Barcelona. Oh, okay. I said, well, we're playing there in a couple of weeks. I go, how about this? I'll give you 2 passes, put you on the guest list. You can watch the show, and we have a talk. He never showed.
Of course. Of
But that
course.
was the catalyst of no more fighting, no more debates. I never debate. I even like even more so now, I never talk about nothing. I don't have an opinion about nothing that you need to know about.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah.
Oh,
You shouldn't
I
either. I mean, you metal church. I mean, come on now. Like, I mean,
I
no disrespect, but these people be quiet because
know.
they clearly
Yeah.
don't know their musical history if they're going to mouth off to
Yeah.
you,
I mean,
Mark.
hey,
I mean,
look. I don't sound like David Wayne. I don't sound like Eric Adams. I don't sound
no,
like Mike Howe.
no, but you're
Okay.
you, right?
I'm me, but I still pay respect to the source material, and that's always been the most important thing to me. And I always said, if we can't do it right, then we shouldn't do it.
Yeah. Ross
I
wouldn't
don't.
pick you if that wasn't the case.
Oh
Ross
yeah,
would not pick you
of course.
if he did not respect your voice and what you can
Mhm.
do with his music, isn't it? And
Yeah, it means
that's,
a lot. I mean, and now I'm at the point where, I'm the senior member of the band, me and Ross, and yeah, he's definitely put a lot of responsibility in
yeah.
doing stuff with me, and I love it. It's great doing that, and I always get a kick out of it because these are bands, Metal Church, the first record. I wore out the fucking thing because that was one of my favorite records of all time to this day.
Yeah.
And I think I must have bent Kurt's ear for he was supposed to be so sick of it. I would ask him everything about how that first 2 albums were done.
Yes.
And every time I get little cool stories about this and that. I was like, oh man, that's so cool. And I was like, always my one thing I always noticed, and it was great on the first Metal Church record, David Wayne, his voice had different colors.
Oh,
He
yeah.
never hit the same thing the same way twice. I found that fascinating.
Hmm.
So I talked, Kurt's an engineer and all that stuff. I go, so, what's that all about? He goes, oh, of course. He goes, we recorded the whole record in like 3 days. And I'm like,
Mm.
that's why. And not that it's bad, 'cause it definitely isn't. But
No.
how wild is that? That that's why. Imagine you've done 6 songs and you got to go do Beyond the Black. Oh, that's the next one on the. Okay, cool, man. That's probably why these things sound a little bit different,
Yeah.
So,
But
well,
that's pretty.
even but the thing is it kept it real. Same thing, same conversation I have with Ross about the early Manowar records, especially what's it, Battle Hymn, Into Glory Ride, and what was the Hail to England.
Yeah, my favorite.
Ah, mine too,
Yeah.
mine too. And you when you dig into the songs, you can hear. And I was like, "What happened?" He goes, we recorded that whole record in like 2 days or something,
Back to
and we
back,
did two
apparently.
records."
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, "We did both records in the same fucking time." I'm like, "What?" And that's why you can hear the like fatigue adds this cool color and vibration. It can't be duplicated. That's why when these bands try to re-record their old shit, ain't never gonna fucking happen.
No, I don't like it. Leave it alone. It's a time in
You know,
history.
it's
It's a
like,
point in
why are
history.
you
Yeah.
doing that? You're
Yeah, yeah.
not in that headspace. You're not gonna sound like that because you have technology and you have
Mm.
a budget. We'll never be the
Yeah,
same. Never be the
exactly.
same. It's the
You,
truth. It
it's,
is the truth.
yeah, because you were doing the album on coffee and cigarettes, man. That's all you were doing. You were
Yeah.
living on
And
coffee
on
and
2 inch tape that if you didn't get it within a certain amount, that shit was starting to wear down.
yeah, and bloody expensive.
Expensive,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Studio time, tape. I mean,
Yep.
you hear stories where bands, come back and their tape's been wiped because they need the tape again, and all this sort of stuff. This is the why I think music in now is not is as rich. It's still beautiful.
Yep.
It doesn't have that DIY ethic that I like. The particularly early metal bands like yourself and early Man of War.
Yeah. Well, and this bounces back to a conversation I had with Kurt not long ago, and I'm always thinking ahead. Like we started talking about doing the next record while we were on tour at the end of 23. And everybody was excited about it. I started whipping out ideas and had the album name, the whole nine yards. And we were like, you know what would be awesome? I said, what if we go and do the record like you did the first one? I said, let's. He goes, yeah, man. He goes, we'll get in a room and we'll record the ideas and do it as we go along.
Oh, I love it.
I was like, dude, that's the bu and you know what the problem with that with is that it's all about budgets.
Mm,
Honestly, it comes down to the dollars and the cents.
mm.
You get the time. Can you afford the time? You got to all these things that line up that a lot of people don't know if they're not in the part of the business that understands how these things work. Like,
Yeah.
how come you haven't done this? It's like, well, you got 25 grand.
You would give
They
me the
don't make it
money?
to
Yeah,
25
yeah.
grand. Send it over. I'll do it for you. No problem. Comes down to a lot of that. Even with I do all of my recording on my own. I have
Mm,
my own studio. And I just do that because I know what I want to hear. And sometimes it takes a little time and I need that alone. I need to be alone when I'm working on that stuff. I'm not objecting to work with anybody, but I always get the red light syndrome when it
yeah.
comes. Oh, you're on. Oh,
Yeah.
oh God. And then you're off take and you're like, and all of a sudden the light goes on. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I know the feeling. I can't record with my wife's in the house. I have to shut the door, interview people on my own. If there's people
Yep.
watching me, I could talk to anyone, thousands of people. But if
Mm,
someone's watching me, I'd suddenly go, "Eh," and I get like deer in the headlights, like.
go totally. That's so
So,
funny.
a question I have to ask: you're doing obviously a Sign of the Hammer, which is a cracking album, but with some absolute banging epics on it. That's going to be one for you. I'm sure you've played them all before in one way or another.
We just
But
played them for the first time on this last run.
yeah, all men
Yeah.
play on 10. I mean, really. I mean,
Dude, the best. Oh, this is so great. I used to make fun of that song so bad, along with everybody else.
yeah,
And then I was like, because I never put that on the set list. I had no love. I was like, I'm not doing that stupid, right? So the whole Sign of the Hammer thing came up, which, by the way, we thought of first, just
yeah,
saying. I was like starting to study it and listen to it, and I'm like, dude, this song's badass.
it
And
is.
I'm like the middle section when the bass slides,
Mm,
wow,
yeah.
wow. I get so into that, man. I'm like, I go up to Dirk and I'm like, give that shit to me. Let's go.
It's funny how you said it's right, because we go, oh, that's so Spinal Tap, and then you put it on and you live with it. And I went back to it for the first time for about 3 or 4 years. I hadn't listened to it, and I was like, oh my God, this is just fucking unbelievable. It's like,
I'm, dude, the rhythm of the vocal of that tune is
yeah,
so badass.
yeah, I wouldn't
I
want to
was,
sing it.
I was like, I'm like this, and it was the best part is this is the first time we've ever had to do this, which is hysterical. So we ended up having a short rehearsal when we started, we focused on the songs we had never played live before, that one being it. And I remember we started it and we're all like, no, 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 it's got a groove. I said, it's kind of opposite of what Manowar stuff is, but this song's got a groove. And if it doesn't groove right, it won't make sense.
No, yes,
And it was true. And it took a couple of shows to get the rhyme, the rhythm going. And then it sounded cool because I was like, I don't want to fucking play this. It sounds terrible. It didn't, but we always put ourselves in such high
of
standards.
course.
It doesn't sound- But like the last show doing that was awesome.
Oh, I bet
Uh,
it was. I mean, I'm looking
yeah.
forward to hearing the Oath.
We
Um,
play that we play that on every tour.
yeah, no, and I haven't seen you guys yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing the Oath because that's one of those my favorites.
Yeah, yeah, it's my favorite too.
That and Sign of
Well,
the
it's
Hammer, of
it's
course.
it's kind of funny. The first three or four, no, the first four songs in the set, well, they stay.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they'll never go from that. We have a certain order. It works, and It just is. And that will all we have a definite ending and we have a definite beginning. The middle's the part that interchanges.
Yeah, yeah, and that
Yeah.
that's great because then you can do what you want. Then
Right.
we're gonna do some of Hail to England. We're gonna do some of battle hymns. We can do anything you like, and
Hmm.
the audience are gonna love it because I mean, let's be honest, how often not many of us have seen Man of War with Ross. Like you said, it doesn't happen.
No.
We're no, we may have done when we were very young, but we don't
Hmm.
remember it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very, particularly here in Australia. So the
They haven't even come
audiences,
down to Australia.
no, I don't think Manowar ever played here.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
I was telling Ross a story, and I'll tell you it's quite interesting because you'd find this
Hmm.
funny being a big fan. A mate of mine years ago saw Manowar when they were at that time the loudest band in the world.
Hmm.
He jumped over the barrier, ran up to one of the speakers right in the middle of a bass bit, and blew his eardrum.
Who?
My mate, he put his eardrum
Oh
against it. It
man.
boom, and it went.
Wow.
How
Blow
he
your
got how
speakers,
it
right?
yeah how he got that close to the bloody stack. I don't know, right? It was a big
That's
fit.
not, that sometimes is beyond ridiculous when it's so fucking loud. It's like, come
Oh
on,
man,
man.
the
You
loudest
know,
band in the world.
it's that certain threshold where it's not weak, but it's not too loud.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I like about small venues. You can be right near the stacks in small venues, and you can get it all. Yeah, sometimes you get that going on,
Yeah.
but you can be really amongst the sound. Like, I mean, you've played stadiums, you've played festivals. I mean, it's brilliant because of the reaction with the audience, but it's not that intimacy that you get.
I was just having this conversation with the last interview. It's true.
Mm,
Festivals are mind blowing.
mm,
Having 30,000 people in front of you and you have their attention.
mm.
That's great, but you're 900 feet away from them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm the only, probably one of the few people I run down to the barrier
Yeah,
and I'll run the
good.
whole length of everything and hang out with everybody and then have to find my way back to the stage. I've done some really funny ways of getting down. I've had guards hold my feet up and he lower me down. It was great. I was trying to get down. I'm like, dude, we got you, we got you. And they're like, helping me up. And I'm like, thank God. I'm like, I can't do that shit no more.
They just get you a
You
ladder
gotta help a,
down.
you gotta help a guy out, man.
But it's true, right, though, because like I saw Biohazard years ago, and they did the same thing. They come out to the barrier, and you as a musician, particularly as a singer, you need the energy back from the audience, right? That's part of your
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Is the to and fro of the emotional and the energy from and the force. Being
Mhm.
900 feet away, it just doesn't.
Mhm. Well, that's why these small club shows are always so fun. That
Yeah,
intimacy. I love it when you get the people's right here.
yeah,
It's wild. It's
yeah.
so much fun because you can see and feel what's going on. They could be doing that in a festival. We can't tell,
No.
especially because I wear in-ears. I
Mm.
can't even tell in the crowds. I have to pull it out sometimes so I can hear the crowd.
Oh, geez, that's
You
annoying.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's that or not play a good show because I can't hear myself. So
Well,
I
that's
that's a
right. Yeah, it's
sacrifice, you
technology.
know?
You have to do it. Right? That's right.
Yes,
It's said they can't
exactly.
feed some audience noise in there somewhere.
Well,
Like,
you can, but that's a whole other process, which is totally doable, but it also depends on where you are on the bill.
oh, of
Can't,
course, yes.
you can't get away with it. So, and we're very respectful. I'm very respectful for everybody that works those things because without it, I appreciate all the techs and all the people that do that. That's a
Oh yeah.
brutal job, especially when you're wheeling and dealing freaking 20 bands with 20 different attitudes.
Oh
I mean,
God, yes.
some of the horror stories that I've actually witnessed. Oh, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah,
I don't say nothing, but I walk away going, oh man, if that was me, I would have knocked you out.
yeah, yeah. I would have. Well, I mean, you hear these stories like I was reading somewhere the other day about a band. I think it was Iron Maiden. I think, or maybe it was playing with Rush somewhere in Canada, and one of they didn't like the support band, so the sound guys would deliberately turn down the support act. All right, even though they were really amazing, and
Hmm.
then put it back up when the main band
Wow.
came on, just to piss them off. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's kind of dank. That's kind of douchey.
Yeah,
You know,
isn't it? It is. It's
yeah, it's
like,
kind
oh,
of
come on.
douchey. Yeah, come on. And everybody was in those same positions, so why are you gonna be a jerk about it?
You got to
Well,
start somewhere.
hmm
exactly
Yeah,
right.
I'm
You
not
know,
one for doing like we played tricks a couple of times. It was fun. Like Ross will be in the middle of a great solo, and I'll go walk by him and go, "What?" I'll pull his
oh,
plug.
oh, I can imagine the look on his face. Oh
Well, half
Lord.
the time he's like, "What's going on? How come it's not there?" I'm like, "Oh, you're looking for this?" And I'm like, back in.
Oh, because
I go, "You must have stepped on it, man."
he doesn't play with a wireless pack or anything like that. He's always plugged to the stack, right? Because he goes
Exactly.
he goes straight in clean.
Yep.
So like
Mhm.
and that's another thing about playing with Ross. I mean, he's one of my guitar heroes. Like he is one of the
He's all right.
oh yeah, he's all right. He goes from being like one of the originators of punk, the Dictators, who I
Right.
absolutely love, and then
Hmm.
into this wall of being the loudest band in the world, creating power metal and being this like the sounds that he was making. And the fact that he can still do it, man, that's just it's brilliant.
Well, it's interesting. One of the characteristics um is that certain feedback that he'll get, and that's all from the monitors. You have to have
Mm.
the monitor set a certain way so that it causes a feedback between the amp and
Oh,
the
smart
thing.
man.
Yeah, and I know that's tough to achieve trying to get when you're on the rush trying to get that going.
Oh yeah.
So, like on the big festivals, he always has to go back to the amps to get it. But it's cool when you're in a smaller one because you can have the monitor act as that feedback.
Oh
So it's
yeah.
cool. It's cool. I mean, it's sometimes annoying, but it's cool.
Well, yeah, you're not gonna say, "Hey Ross," but unless you unplug him, of course.
I don't like
So
that.
yeah, boink. I don't want that solo in
It
my
wasn't
set.
going well.
You missed a few notes. Boink.
Oh, dude, and we'll leave with this one.
Yeah.
The funniest Ross blunder was at Sweden Rock, and we were cooking. I mean, we were just we'd have been playing, we were on tour for a while, so everybody was in sync, you know. It was like one of the best shows I ever sang.
Mm,
It felt amazing. I was like, oh my God, that's great. And so last song is Hail and Kill.
yeah. Oh, I love
So
that.
So we have a couple of things where we got to do some guitar changes for tunings and stuff. So, getting down, 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 right? All of a sudden, I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, something's wrong. I go, someone's playing the wrong notes or whatever. And Dirk's trying to pull it in. He goes, just keep going. I'm like, no, 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 fuck that. I stopped the show.
Oh,
I go, Ross, you didn't change your guitar. Oh shit. So I went out front and I made a joke out of it. And it worked. But I was just like, oh, oh man, you can't keep going because the whole song would have been out.
oh yeah.
And then Dirk would have had to transpose his parts on the fly. And then me, I would have been all lost because when you hear it a certain way, I would be like, what the fuck key is that?
Yeah, yeah. You're trying to catch the key.
Yep. That's always a good one. So I was busting his ass going, do we have to put the instructions on the fucking set list? Oh, well, okay. Big change to E flat.
Change to this guitar.
Exactly. Exactly. It's great.
Oh, that's
It's a good
wonderful.
time.
That's rock and roll stories, right? They're for
Yep.
your biography, man. That's for your
Yep.
biography, I'm sure. Look, thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting. We'll see you on the tour. I know it's going to be amazing
Where we're going to see you.
in Sydney,
Nice.
hopefully, or
Awesome.
Brisbane. I'm going to try and get to either of them.
Oh,
This one,
well, let us know. We'll hook you
yeah,
up.
yeah, definitely.
All right, man.
Keep it real. Good, safe travels.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure the audiences are going to I mean, they love you anyway. They're going to love this stuff. So,
I hope so, man.
oh
We need 'em all.
man,
We need everybody there so we can come back.
mate. Well, that's right. I mean, I've seen the lineup that's Dirk and you
Hmm.
and Ross. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's just gold. This is metal royalty. You've got to come to this.
Yeah, Dirk,
Um,
I gotta tell you, man, Dirk does a phenomenal job with these tunes.
yeah,
He's got the sound and he loves it. So,
yeah.
I was like, I really would never want to do it if you're not here. If you ever decide you're gonna have to do something else, you need to let me know.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? Well, I'll leave on that. I think the reverence, that's the point. What comes across talking to you and Ross about this is that there's a real love and reverence, a real a love in the room for the music and for its heritage and for this audience. And
Yep.
I think that above everything is what brings people to the shows because
Yeah,
it feels like a family event.
it should be.
Yeah,
It should be, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So, well, hey, thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure,
It
my
was
friend.
awesome chatting with you, and we'll
Yeah,
see you in Sydney.
I'll see you in Sydney. All
All
right,
right,
man.
brother.
Take it easy.